Hello ladies and gentlemen, Dave Dobbs here. It's the 23rd of February 2024. I think my computer's a bit delayed and a bit slow at the moment, so apologies if the recording's coming out a bit funny. I think that I've just gone and deleted a load of stuff, but it doesn't seem to have changed very much, so maybe I've got to strip it down and kind of clean out the fans a little bit. But it's flooding here on the river where I am at the moment, and we know what's causing it. It's this object here, this what some might describe as a lenticular cloud, except it is on its side, and that's very interesting and very much kind of like it's what I'm telling you you're gonna see. You're coming to this this point here where these objects are. You know, the proportions of these, like I say, because obviously I've packed all these planets in so close to the sun here, as in Mars, Earth, Venus, and Mercury, very very close, packed in to try and get this whole model in. As all the different sightings seem to be, you know, it's very difficult to work out how this model really works and whether I'm correct or not. This is my eighth or maybe eighth model, potentially ninth model of trying to build the whole solar system as what we're really seeing it, but giving obviously the sun motion. And you know, we live pretty much in a static sun model. You know, you wouldn't kind of picture a comet without a tail, and yet we could see our sun in the center with all the planets in a perfect concentric kind of ring, and have no clue as to its direction in the scheme of things. And that's a big part of what I'm trying to bring forward in this model. But you know, when we saw last year, coming back to these sort of shots, these again, they're lenticular clouds, but they're on the side. You know, we associate lenticular clouds building up in layers above, you know, a high point. We keep seeing, you know, like a mountain or something like that, that they gather above, and yet here we keep seeing these lenticular clouds on their side, and defying how we understand them. And I'm telling you, this is this object. When this one came in, it was the massive earthquake in Turkey, and the same with this one, two Turkeys. When these, you know, people have started calling them earthquake clouds now. You know, they're lenticular clouds that are on their side. There was actually an object inside there, and that's the gas cloud that follows this thing behind. Because their primary of what they really orbit is spewing out iron, as I've often discussed, and these objects pick that iron up and drag it along, and you know, this gives us an idea really how we should be seeing our sun in terms of giving it the motion it deserves, and having a model that demonstrates that, so you can have kind of motion in your scheme of things, and that's what we don't have in this present model. Anyway, that was quite interesting that this shot just came in. Like I say, it's been seriously flooding here on the river, and I'm just going to very briefly show you what's going on out there. Oh my goodness me! Let me go here and take you out. It's a total state in my boat at the moment. But I don't know if you can see it out there, but the with the walkways completely walkways completely underwater there. Everyone's trying to kind of get in across the. So it came right up to that barrier there. It came just short of the barrier there, and that's the first time it's done that since. That's the first time it's done that since. Well, it did it obviously last year, and it's been doing it a few times just in the last kind of like 18 months. Come on, Shanti, have you come? Good girl, sweetheart. So it's been quite full on. So I've been kind of stuck on the boat, and you know, people who've donated a little bit of money towards my cause. You know, there was like £120 in the. See if we can get my computer to work. Hopefully that's kind of on. Anyway, we shall see if that works out or not. So let's come back to that shot. Anyway, yeah, there was £120 in the PayPal account. It was kind of like it was amazing. So thank you so much. And a few people have made a few donations in the directly to my PayPal, and that really helped me get through the last kind of like the last kind of the last week, because I've been just stuck on the boat, and we've just been kind of like I say, the last time was in it flooded like this. This was back in 2013 at Christmas time, and you can see that's where that's where I am at the moment, and you know that's how high it came about a month ago. So we're seeing these really unusual. The time before that was 1968. The time before that was like, I think, around about the sort of time we discovered Pluto, around about the 1920s, 1930s. You know, this is rare that this river completely floods, and so but you know, we do a lot of risk assessment and everything else like that to make sure that we work together, and but it's been a hell of an ordeal to work through it, and to take all the necessary precautions and preempt the whole thing. But what was happening back then? You know, when you go back to because that was December 2013. Let's go back to let's go back to 2013. That was the last time that that was obviously the last time the pair kind of synced up, and that was obviously Fukushima at the time, and that was this was the flyby that I just showed you again 12 years later in 2022 and 23, and but 2013. You know, that December 2013, it was what I call the Red Kachina again here. It was this one that caused the big flood in 2013 here, in my opinion. You know, I might be wrong. And of course, there's the pair again in 2013. Seemed very small because they're back here. They're just coming into view just coming into our daylight sky here. So we're looking them from a great distance. We'd be like, you know, back here sort of thing, and we can't see them there. But I've bunched these up so close together that it traverses this part much quicker, really, and that's a much bigger section of the orbit than obviously is being demonstrated on here to bring it all into a single into one frame, one single view sort of thing, which is what I've attempted to do here. So the proportions are kind of tricky, and as you get to know and work out these proportions, if you're going to use this model to try and work out what you were close to when you arrived on the planet, it's worth thinking about all of that. You know, these are still very much ballpark, but it's attempting to understand the overall directions of things, as in the sun moving ultimately in this direction. And one thing it doesn't show on this model, which is really worth considering as well, is that you don't really get the kind of the whole arc of one system cutting through the other system, as in here. You can imagine there's a point of crossing here, and it comes over, and then there's a point of crossing here. So we get 2 points of crossing here. But in this model, I've kind of like it's very difficult. So it's very difficult for me to catch that. You've got the path here and the path here, and really they would keep coming round and cross again. But I've had to keep them here to capture all the movements and to kind of sync up, kind of like from 1939, I've kept them on the same place. So that when I talk about the kind of 2 points of crossing, you don't really fully get that on this model. But you do get an idea of some of the kind of like of the timings that we've seen throughout since the Second World War began, all the crazy sightings and the timings and the way these things all sync up. We can see the patterns. We can predict them quite clearly. You know, it's you know, for you know what to say really, but there you go. That's the there were some more shots that came in with that actually. There was obviously that shot, you know, posted by that was posted by Worlds of Signs. That came in on the 19th of February 2024, and two other people posted a very similar thing. You know, and it's there was that sighting from where was that? That was in Spain, and this was also in Spain. And there was another shot like this in Andalusia, I think, as well. But Mr. MBB talking about the Comet 12P, Pons Brook, I think it's called, talking about how it's going to come into view. And to me, this is, I mean, if this is one of the pair, which is very possible it is, it's, yeah, we're going to get an amazing view of it, just like we're getting an amazing view of it now. Or one of the pair. I don't think this is obviously the one that's flying by, because I can't be out there and next to us at the same time. So, or possibly that is the red Kachina going off. If we come back to back to 2023, come back down to the end of 2023. Yeah, that's sort of like again, it's this. You know, is it this one coming out that we're seeing now going off into the night sky, or is it one of the pair coming in? It's certainly we're seeing all the volcanic activity, all the activity we'd expect, all the crazy sightings. You know, we won't get another flyby now till yeah, we're going to get some interesting views maybe of it, but I don't think we're going to get any better views than what we're getting at the moment. And we are, this is where all the activity is going to happen for us next, all around here. Isn't it interesting that, you know, just mentioning earlier about the 11th of March flyby 2011 and showing you the shot there and where it was when the pairs flew by. You know, they're coming back here at the moment. They're behind us now. It was 2 years ago they would have been close over here, but or last year and the year before, but now they're every month, every year they've been dropping back a month, and but on the 11th of March this year, they're going to fire up their Large Hadron Collider, and which by so they're going to get it going now and in March, and planning for the big heavy lead iron collisions for September, October, right at this point here, and right when we're around here, when we're next to all these big objects again. So I don't know, isn't it funny that it coincides, and these collisions, you know, you understand that you can't create or destroy energy. So we know that once they, you know, they're sending these particles around a 27-kilometer long ring at 99.99% of the speed of light, and how Einstein knew you couldn't go faster than that, I don't know how he worked all that out, but when he came up with these kind of theories of relativity, you know, is quite beyond me, but he seemed to got that figure exactly right, and so once they reach that kind of point, once you're putting energy in and you've got them up to the speed of light, what happens when you put more energy in? Well, the energy keeps going somewhere, and it's got to be doing something, because you can't create or destroy energy. So what happens is the mass starts increasing. Now we're kind of told that, oh, we've got nothing to worry about because these are tiny particles that can barely be seen. But what's actually happening is their mass is massively increasing, and this is in my opinion, it's a doomsday machine. It's an utter doomsday machine that works on the back of war and aggression. It's like a, you know, if you like, the Large Hadron Collider is the karmic outcome for all-out war on this plane, which is everything that they're trying to get off the ground now, is to try and get all-out war off the ground, and trying to do everything possible to force Britain, Israel, America, Australia, you know, just to force all these countries to cross the Rubicon, if you like. When I say cross the Rubicon, I'm talking about the point where, you know, Julius Caesar, when he took his legions across the Rubicon, and that closer to the Roman to Rome itself. He became a threat to Rome. One minute he was Rome's, fighting, most powerful fighting force, and the next minute he was enemy of Rome because he'd crossed that Rubicon and there was no way back. He was at war. He would have to take Rome, or Rome would have to take him. There was one way or the other. It was a war situation, absolute. There couldn't be reversed, and that's what they're attempting to do. And I certainly see, because if we look at just what happened yesterday in the news, it was I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but there was a massive walkout. The SNP walked out because their vote, that they'd attempted to kind of force a ceasefire to use their power in the, because they've got a kind of a coalition seat with Labour Party, with Keir Starmer here, and so they've got power, and their basic power, as far as I'm understanding, was vetoed by the Speaker, because he had a quick discussion with Keir Starmer, and he's ex-Labour, and the whole thing kind of like smacks of really, and clearly Keir Starmer is very, very kind of, he's got very strong Zionist views, and so they've kind of agreed that there should be a ceasefire under the pretense that the Palestinians have got to return all the hostages. They've got to completely accept all kind of like Israel's conditions. They've got they've just created a whole load of things that can, needs a ceasefire, and those sort of things can be negotiated. But you can't say we want a ceasefire after you've completely surrendered and giving up everything, and you've just, how are they going to return these hostages? Most of them, they've just absolutely blanket bombed the whole of Gaza pretty much. It's just, there's nothing left. Can you imagine if there are any hostages alive? If there are any hostages alive, which is looking to be quite doubtful. No one's got any internet coverage, no one's got any phone coverage, no one's got anything there. Everything's been shut down. The press can't go in there because the press are getting killed as quickly as the kind of Palestinians themselves. It's complete shutdown. So there's not going to be, now all the Palestinians are right down in the south of Gaza, and huddled together, and it's going to be a bloodbath. Basically, it's just the British government coming together and really bringing about a ceasefire to kind of save potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of more lives, because we know what the Israelis are going to do. They are going to get rid of absolutely every one of them. They're going to wipe out the bloodline, literally wipe out the bloodline. Literally, it's just like absolutely unbelievable. So it's been a massive. It's made to look like it's and this whole thing, it's all about the kind of House Speaker and that sort of stuff, and it's not about the House Speaker. It's just a messy situation where we've just got absolute Zionist warmongers that are desperate to push us into all-out World War III. Literally, you can see it. They're doing everything in their power, and so we've just got to keep waging peace and keep realising and keep coming back to the side of the fence that we're on in this, and know that we just want peace in this situation, and we want to bring harmony to this situation, and that seems to be a long way off at the moment. And it's funny because this was the day where sort of like where Julian Assange was going to be, his hearing was going to be it was going to be today, and I don't know if it is going to be today. It's just looking like what's this? One day ago, UK High Court delays decision on extradition of WikiLeaks Julian Assange, and it's all just too embarrassing for the government at the moment, because they're being pushed on the back foot, which is a good thing, really. So it's all kind of like the people don't want this war. The people want. I'm of mind. People don't want this, and I just don't know what to say, really, guys. It's just like if he goes to America, it's very likely it's going to be really, really bad. you know, because he'll be sent to the most rednecks. He'll be extradited to the most redneck state, and where capital capital punishment is on the top of the menu, and it's going to be a messy situation, and it's what to do. So we're kind of like, we're in that situation now where yeah, I've just got through the last little flyby. I'm still again absolutely broke. So you know, I'm gonna post, because I'm struggling reading these next 4 chapters, which are the hardest chapters of the book, really. These next 4 chapters for me. But anyway, I'm cracking on with it. I'm doing it, but I'm going to put the links, because I've already done the first 4 chapters. So I'm going to put the link to those 4 chapters onto my Patreon account, so you can watch them there. And obviously, you can see them. You can see them directly on my channel if you haven't followed me so far on the book wise, because I wrote the book for this time, and I guess it's my last kind of like ditch attempt to trying to bring my own peace, because this is my attempt to. Everything that's going on now is what I said would happen. You know, that we would kick our dinner plates. You know, I published that back in 2011, saying that you know, the way we're going at the moment, our current direction with what we're going to try and create, because of the door that opens to humanity and to the soul groups that incarnate in humanity right now. They want to plummet the vibration down to block that passage. It's not like it means you're leaving Earth if you choose to go through these doors that are open to the souls that incarnate on Earth at the moment. All it is really, as I'm understanding it, is a change of soul address. So there are the 4 chapters down there, but I will put links on them onto my Patreon account as a big thank you to all my patrons who like I say, got 120 quid, and it really helped me get through this flood. I'm still totally brasset. I've got like a tenner left, literally. And I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to try and just going to sell some bits and do whatever I can, but they're going to go up there. Also, if you haven't done it already, please check out the Colburn Bible there as well and listen to that, because that will blow you away. You know, you remember this was unearthed when Henry VIII destroyed the abbey in Glastonbury. He burnt it down and hung, drawn, quartered the abbot, and basically there was a lot of literature that was released, and one of the things that was released was the Colburn Bible that had been held by the Catholic Church. It's certainly not a Christian Bible. It's an account of the Great Dragon, and here we are in the year of the Dragon. You know, it's just begun. It began on the 10th of February, 10th of February this year, and it's you know, it was a hell of a. It was a hell of an opening with this coming kind of 9 days after the coming into view, 9 days after the beginning of the Chinese New Year. So, you know, the dragon's gonna come in. We know where it's gonna. We know what's gonna come. You know, we can kind of see what's gonna happen. The massive activity that was happening. Last year at this point. You know, you remember that it was, like I say, it was last year at this point. It's, you know, there was just there was 61 volcanoes simultaneously erupting, which is, like I say, that's breathtaking. When you think of Britain's local volcano, as in kind of near it, I guess we're probably nearer than Iceland is Stromboli and Etna. You know, off the coast of Sicily and near Italy and in the Med, and like I say, on a big eruption, that's kind of 80 million tons. You know, certainly Stromboli is like 80 million tons of carbon dioxide in a single eruption. It kind of dwarfs what the European Union's pumping out by a big factor, and we're just ignoring that. And we're looking at our 0.04% carbon dioxide and all screaming out every time the world goes crazy that we want to be carbon zero, and we're not really looking at the real situation. No one's really kind of turned around and said, look, what we want is abundant clean energy, and that's what I talk about a lot, and some of the focuses that we need to have at this time. So but you know, at this time, as I discussed in most of my videos, from here at this point, from here to here, from this point, it has exponentially got worse since 2018, 2019. we've just seen the storms getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and now all that's happening is it's moving further into the northern hemisphere. So we know that when we come around to this time in July, August, September and October, it's going to be an immense time for us. It's going to be a massive, massive time. It's going to be bigger than this. It's going to be bigger than 61 volcanoes, and it's going to be massively affecting the northern hemisphere. Mega storms, mega changes. Just like I told you, you have mega storms and flooding here, and it's been flooding right on the river here. And it's just like, it's a full-on thing to see, but we can navigate through these. I've navigated through this. If I hadn't have been here and navigated through this time, you know, there's 2 boats that sank down further down the way, and one boat got washed away. There's lots of stuff going on that's just not being addressed, and people aren't being led to prepare in the right ways and to consider what they can do about this, which is why I'm doing this whole pilgrimage thing of bringing us together for a pilgrimage for the 21st of June and start aligning with that date, because that's, as I'm showing here, the forward motion of this. And so hopefully I'm going to be doing lots around the 21st that is going to be involved happiness, high celebration, and good vibes. And it's going to start hopefully with me at the Stonehenge on the 21st of June, and then hopefully going to Glastonbury maybe, and hopefully kind of like maybe getting involved in the Gorilla Bar. I don't know if they'll have me back. It's all just like you know, do they want someone my age at the Gorilla Bar anymore? God knows, I don't know. But you know, I'm feeling a bit outdated and everything else like that. But you never know, I might make it back there. There's lots planned, and I'm gonna, like I say, keep recording Laughing Gas, and there's gonna be you know, there's gonna be bits and pieces, there's gonna be big bits and slow bits, because it's a bit of a struggle and I don't read that well, but I'm gonna keep getting it up there and keep adding to that. And anyone who's supporting me at the moment, honestly, I saw one person had put more money in, not just put £5 in a month, but had put like $35 or something a month, or something silly. It was just like amazing. So I will go through an individual. I've just been frantic here because I've been threadbare, and everything's just on a bit like, it's just such high stress at the moment. When money runs out, it puts you under a real kind of high pressure, and it really turns you inside out, and it makes it really stressful. And it's, you know, any help right now is so massively appreciated right now, because it's just such a desperate time for me. And I've just spread myself a bit too thin, and I think emotionally I'm really struggling to communicate with a lot of people. Even doing this right now is just, it feels so kind of like, you know, I'm up against, you know, I talked about in a couple of videos back about finding the reason to do the things that you do, and those who are following me that are kind of trying to get your own stuff out there and trying to begin your own process and begin your own journey with this, and trying to align with the celestial event that you're really in, and cosmically align with that in however you can do that, you know, in however you can align with your solar system and align that with the cosmos, and come into an alignment with a galactic alignment to kind of tap into that greater wisdom that you really are part of, that is part of you. And so that's a big part of what's going on here. So so any help you can do, please get involved with the Patreon account. I know, I'm sorry it's a bit slow and everything else like that, but it's just my struggling times at the moment. I'm just dealing with a lot this end, and struggling like everyone, I guess, is struggling at the moment. And so any help is amazing. But you know, you're as far as I can see, you're done for flybys now till this time up here, until we get to kind of like late July, August, September, October, you know. But you know, around about this time I've got marked up here, this is where it gets absolutely massive. This is a big time for you, and you want to get right with your connection to divinity through this. This is a big time to really think about your place in the scheme of things. You know, ultimately, you know, my parents were both channels, and the first thing that my father ever channeled to me, well, you know, he channeled, I think he channeled John, who he used to call, he just came by the name John, because when one of his incarnations, he lived as a monk near where I was brought up in Sussex, and so he liked coming through and using that name, but he had many names, and he'd obviously had many incarnations, and he could have come through many different names, many different beings, and he channeled, my mum and dad channeled, my dad channeled John and White Cloud, and others. And my mum, when my parents split up and went their ways, my mum started channeling White Cloud herself. But the first message, whether it was from John, I think it was actually from John, but he said, understand, you can only serve one master. You can only serve one master. And that's what this is all about. And we're all choosing a God here. And there's a lot of different stories that you can go down at the moment. So many different stories. Some of you are going to think that Trump's the second coming, and maybe he is. Some of you are going to think that you just want to be carbon zero, and you know, the way the governments are taking you and the direction the governments are attempting to take, the Western governments are attempting to take you, there's a journey to being carbon zero. It's a journey to all-out war, a war that can never be won if it's waged. That's why I wrote Laughing Gas. That's why I did the whole thing. Just in case anyone's waiting and anyone's really thinking, I've just put some money in and Dave still hasn't posted those things on Facebook. Like I say, I will with this video. I'll post up those first four videos, just the links to the Patreon account. So it is something up there, and I will keep adding those chapters. I'm so sorry I've been a bit delayed, but like I say, I have delivered you this model, and I will post up this model now with a few more of the overlays. And when I finally release these first 4 chapters with the next four chapters, I'm going to keep putting this model with all the latest overlays. I'm going to keep adding and adding and adding to this model, and then finally we will get to the point where it's you know, where all the overlays, as I always do with the models, I just keep adding the overlays to try and give you a better understanding, to try and help you kind of navigate. You know, I'm not trying to say this is correct, because I've updated this all the way through, and I've no doubt this can be updated again, and I can already see lots of errors in this already, but it's closest I've got to a ballpark understanding, covering such a long amount of time, to give you a kind of a window of where the planets were when you were born. And I will leave that on I will also leave the whole model on my Patreon account, like I say, with these overlays, so you can go back, and I'll leave that available to all, you know, not just to members, so you can join and not pay, and get access to that model, and go up and down the timeline and start thinking about the planets when they were where they were. It's a big thing, you know. What we're talking about is Jupiter, and isn't it crazy that the kind of like the whole Chinese, you know, the 12 cycle, the 12 kind of their 12 zodiacs, their 12, you know, animal totem zodiacs. In, you know, you'd have thought it'd been 13 because it starts on the new moon, so it seems to be lunar, a kind of a lunar calendar, and yet it's not a 13-year cycle. It's a 12-year cycle, representing something that's very akin to, again, Jupiter, to all of these planets that we see spinning around. They all have the same Jupiter-esque mechanics, which means that even though we would consider Jupiter, or whatever this big blue planet that we reinvent every 84 years and have done since kind of like since Galileo's time, we see that as a primary, say, Jupiter and all the planets moving around it. But what happens when that one planet gets so close to our sun that it loops around and drags all its planets with it, all its moons, if you like, with it, and they come trailing around not in like an all spinning around in a cycle like this, in like a big hub of planets all spinning around like that, but they one and the other and the other and the other in this kind of odd sequence. But in actual fact, that's how we experiencing them when they're doing flybys of our sun, when our sun comes so close to what Jupiter, or whatever we want to call the big blue object, whether we want to call it Uranus, whether we want to call it Neptune, whether we want to call it Pluto, whatever we want to call it, we have to reinvent it because it keeps turning up in the wrong place and it contradicts the standard model, which just doesn't make sense. The standard model defies Kepler's laws in every way, shape and form. It gives every planet, they add a different perihelion point, which defines the front edge of an object. You'd consider, like say, a comet and a tail, and its tail. And you wouldn't think of a comet without a tail, and yet you'd think of the sun in static with all the planets in a perfect ring. You wouldn't give it motion in your mind's eye. And we've all got to upgrade our understanding of our place in the scheme of things now. We've got to take responsibility of that. We've got to come out of these grand deceptions. We've got to start evolving our ideas, and it's but we're all ultimately choosing, we're through our incarnations in this earth, we are ultimately choosing the locations, our souls. If you like, this is a time when a lot of humans, their souls that are incarnating in them, can change their soul address. It doesn't mean you stop coming to Earth. It just means you come to Earth from a different place. And that's what's being opened up to the soul group that's incarnating in humanity right now, is that a door is opening for that soul group to migrate to a higher vibrational home. It's a big thing to get your head around, and it doesn't mean that you have to go this time. Maybe you've got your reasons and you've got your loyalties in other places. Maybe it's just, they want you to intellectualize this war and to come up with the intellectual reason why it should happen. And if that's your journey and you need to go on that and you need to sit on the fence in that, and then you've got to do that as well. We've all got to be true to who we are right now. So that honey in the heart, 1,000 thank yous. Any support you can give me right now, honestly. And the other thing I've put out on the Patreon account is that the members, I'd really like to offer the members the opportunity to come together. We've got Calvin Looking for Hobbs there, who came up with the amazing shot on the 15th of October 2020. Just come back to that shot. Just to... not that shot. Oh, I've gone past it, haven't I? Have I put it on there? Maybe I just flashed it. Oh no, I'm too early. I'm looking at that was Nick Thomas's shot on the 9th of July, and I haven't put the other shots. I'm going to keep adding shots to this. By the way, I was going to mention some other people there, but I thought actually let's not get too confusing. But Calvin Looking for Hobbs has joined join my Patreon account, and thank you so much, Calvin, for doing that. It's just like, it's a massive support. It really is. All my members, and I am going to get a bit more, I'd really like to get together, and so I've put out that would you guys who paid like to come together and make a Zoom have a Zoom meeting with me and bring all your discussions together, and anyone else who wants to kind of pay and join and become part of that. Not to say that's a requisite, because but I'd really like to have a big discussion and talk about, what all your intentions are in terms of how you're going to connect. I'm not going to try and put direction into you. I'm just curious about what you think and how you feel, and we can talk about whether you want to make that live and whether we want to record that and make that live, and whether I release that or not. We can discuss that. I don't want everyone to think, oh, this is going to go out there and be live. It doesn't have to be. It would just be nice to have a bit of a meeting and a greeting, and be able to offer some gratitude for your support, and we can decide during that time if anyone says, oh, I don't want to really be this public, I like the idea of just us coming together and having a little chat every now and then I'm also up for that. It will be our little speaker's corner that you can sort of like come in and get involved with. Obviously you've got the comment section there, and I think a lot of people read the comment sections. I always go to the comment sections and see what people take of different things, and view that and view the great debate happens in the comment sections, and so you all have a chance to have a voice out there and get to say what you want to say, and so please get involved in that. Like I say, I'm going to release Laughing Gas. I wrote it for this time. The next 4 chapters after the first 4 are really difficult, and it's all about cosmic protection, and about, there's times when you have to develop that, and there's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to develop to get through these times, because we're talking about, what we're talking about is going into a singularity and going through this time. I mentioned the Colburn Bible. In the Colburn Bible, after the transit, people's guides and lots of people's guides and gods were gone. They'd been separated because of their choices from their soul ancestry, because their vibration had gone below that which their soul ancestry could connect on. They plunged in, humanity had plunged in vibration. And I'm of a mind that the vibration is much higher now, so there's a massive opportunity for a lot of people right now, but they're going to desperately try and snare you into all sorts of low vibrational techniques to form you into intellectualizing the right of genocide, and make terrible mistakes that you don't need to make. And it's going to be a long time, which means that it's a long time for a soul to be stuck in a realm of, the realm that exists beyond this realm, where a lot of souls have been stuck in. A lot of them are trying to get out and have been dreaming of getting it out, and of being stuck in this loop. And so there's great opportunities out there, and there's all for discussion. So anyway, it's all going on, it's all happening. Everything that I wrote in Laughing Gas is happening, and it will help you and prep you and help you kind of develop your own process of seeing this. And that's what we've all got to begin a journey where we are initiating things ourselves and waking up, really waking up. And a lot of your guides, a lot of our guides are gonna leave now. They're gonna, many of your guides are already incarnate on this earth, and they have a lot of knowledge, and so often guides are incarnate on this earth, and many of you will find that your guides are very close to you in living, it's a very big, complicated process that's happening on this planet. It's not as simple as you think. Your guides aren't as far away from you as you might consider. And so there's a lot of stuff that's going on, but your guides are going to have to migrate. Those who are going to go through this, if they haven't gone already, and they're not there already, and they're not coming from that space, then they're going to have to migrate across. And so there's going to be a massive loss of direction, a massive loss for all of us in this process. Many of us have lost our guides already because of the process that's going on and the journeys that they have to take. So it's a very unsettling time. This is a very scary time, and so you're going to have to go deep within to find wisdom and protection. And you're going to have to take care of a lot of that protection where you've been looked after in many different ways. Some of that protection is not going to be there, and you're going to have to take that on and start doing that yourself as we go through this massive transition. And so it's all to be discussed, and it's all to be thought about, and it's all to be considered. And like I say, if you want to get involved in a discussion there on Zoom with me and get the members to come together, I'd really like to open that up and to feel that I could give you back something for those who are joining me on there, and have a discussion, and we could just see where it goes. Have a think about that. Leave comments on like I say, anyone can join my Facebook, my Patreon account. If you pay, obviously you get access, but I'll make sure that this full model is up there, just for non-paying members as well, and we're because I put it up there for a little bit, and it's whatever we can do to help each other right now. It's the way in which we help each other is going to be. This is the time to think about. Yeah, we've got to try and help each other a little bit. So anyway, high stress for me at the moment because it's just absolutely pulling my hair out, wondering where it's all going to come from and that sort of stuff. But I also know that I've got to do this work as well, and I've got to keep plodding on, and by hook or by crook. So, but this flyby now that's just come in. That's going to be your last flyby till. I mean, yeah, you might see a few more bits and pieces here and there, but it's. In terms of crazy activity, that's where you got, late July, August is when it's all going to start after this now, guys. You've got to enjoy summer, but do whatever you've got to do. Make your mission to connect with your God in however you see that, and do whatever process you can to raise your vibration through this. This is a time you need to be the best human being you can, and be as compassionate as you can, and talk peace and come up with real resolutions, not the kind of like the terrible spin that was just enacted yesterday in the House of Commons. That was just dreadful Zionism at its absolute most evil and worst. You know, that means that the genocide is about to go absolutely crazy in the south of Gaza now. That means a lot of people are about to be wiped off the face of the planet. This massive agenda. Wiping out the bloodline. Wiping out the Palestinian bloodline. Honey in the heart. 1,000 thank yous. You know. Thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao.